And welcome everybody once again to another year of High School Basketball Weekly. I'm Tim Morey alongside of my broadcast sidekick, Rick Bua. And Rick, the last time we were on this set, we were talking about the incredible state championship victory of Hoosick Valley, the Lady Hurricanes winning the Division III Western Mass Tournament, and of course you were there for that one.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that long ago, Tim.
That's
but
exactly right.
You know, football just recently ended. They had the Super Bowls this past weekend at Foxborough, and the jamborees and the scrimmages throughout Berkshire County have happened. So here we are. I mean, it's time. It's time for basketball. I can't wait. Hope everybody out there had a great summer.
Well, Rick, as you know in high school sports, every year starts fresh with new faces and new personalities that are playing in high school basketball. And this year, we've got a great lineup of games that we're going to be broadcasting. And we want to bring to you today on our opening show here just a preview of the teams that are going to be playing here in Berkshire County. And we're going to get started right away with the girls preview, Rick. In this girls division, all throughout Berkshire County, we're going to see some exciting games. We've got some great teams, and we're going to start off with the Mounties of Mount Greylock with head coach John Jacoby.
The Lady Mounties under Coach Jacoby were just a little bit under 500 last year, Tim. They ended up at 9-11, and their key players this year. Maddie Ross is a senior, and Clarksburg's Delaney Babcock, well known in this area, has really played really good basketball for John over the last couple of years. They will lead the way this year, and still a young squad, a lot of young kids, but a pretty good turnout, I believe, for Coach Jacoby.
Yeah, we caught up with Coach Jacoby at the Bucky Bullet Jamboree, Rick, and no question about it, he's very excited about the upcoming year, the way they finished the season, and the number of kids he's got participating in the program.
Yeah, I'm happy with the girls. They're working hard in the gym. We started 2-6 and we ended up 9-11, so we had a great second half. We want to get to that 10-win number or win the South or come in second and make the tournament. Anything short of that, we won't reach our goals, but I'm confident we can do it.
Looks like you got good numbers this year in the program. The program seems like it's building some momentum.
We got a lot of young, great athletes, 8th and 9th graders, and we got enough older kids to mix in. So we're up to 21. We haven't had those numbers in a long time, so we're hoping the future's bright.
And Rick, I think the future is bright for the Lady Mounties. Coach Jacoby's got that program going in the right direction. There's no question about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said it. I mean, the South, his goal is to finish 500 or finish second in the South. I think it's very attainable. You know, the league girls are still young. Lennox is very young. Jory lost a couple scores with Brooke DeJaneiro graduating last year. It's wide open. Mount Everett, of course, with the great Gwen Carpenter. So
right.
And the Ulrich young lady, and I'll tell you, it is a wide open South this year. It's going to be very interesting. A lot of fun.
Talking about up and coming teams, you got to talk about the Lady Hornets of McCann, Rick. Coach Kathy Budai had a very young squad last year. Lost a couple seniors off that team. But boy, her team returns all its major players this year, and she does not have a senior on her squad for this year, but they have a lot of talent.
Yeah, they do, and she's returning her 3 top scorers, and that's juniors Kaylee Tatro and Grace Towler, and point guard sophomore Izzy Lacasse. So the kids that you mentioned, the seniors that Coach Budai lost last year, were role players. They were assists. They did great jobs in rebounding, and their leadership certainly paid benefits and dividends for Coach Budai. But it's really, really nice in the offseason knowing your 3 top scorers are coming back. And she also had a nice turnout too. So they ended up 13-9 last year. They lost to Hopkins in the D4 quarterfinal. But you know, it's going to be, I think, a pretty darn good season for Coach Budai, and I've got a couple games marked down to get down and cover for her this year, Tim, and I'm really looking forward to it. They're very scrappy down there, and she's built herself a nice program.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, Rick, I think they're going to be a force in Division 4 for this year. There's no question they're knocking on the door, and you talk about a coach who's excited about the upcoming season. That's Coach Budai of McCann.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very excited. Young team, motivated. They want to play.
you got some real leaders out there in Grace Towler and Izzy Lacasse, and but you're going to need some other players to step up.
Kaylee Tatro's a tough one. She works hard for us. Down on the board, she does a lot of things that people don't notice, and that's important. We between her, Izzy, Grace, as you said, and then we've got some other kids that are going to be filling in. I'm really excited for this year.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% excited because we didn't lose that many seniors that really affected us greatly, and we definitely can grow with that for the many freshmen that we got that are really good this year.
Yeah, Rick, you think about the Lady Hornets, they've got that nucleus of their scorers coming back, and the ball handler in Izzy Lacasse, with a lot of experience last year, coming back as a sophomore this year. I think there's nowhere to go but up for the Lady Hornets.
Yeah, Timmy, we know we've seen it the last couple of years, and quite frankly, they've done well in Western Mass. Last year it wasn't 1 and out, and that's really good for the program. And the turnout was very good. She has a lot of young kids coming up, and she said everything that I did before I even, because I wasn't there to talk to Coach Budaj, but my thoughts exactly. I'd be very upbeat if I was her.
Another team that made the tournament but wants to go a little bit farther for sure, the Lady Hornets, the Lady Blue Devils of Drury. And Rick, you covered them a lot last season. They finished with a record of 13-9. They were the Coach Berkshire County South champions, and they lost to South Hadley in the quarterfinals. But this Lady Drury team is going to be a force to reckon with. I think they're the sleeper team this year in Berkshire County.
I think they tied with Mount Everett last year in the South, and they're going to be led by seniors Allison Felix and Tess Zoido, and sophomore upcomer Kayla McGrath, who is a very, very good shooter, a good basketball player. Of course, as I said earlier, they lost Brooke DeJaneiro, their 1,000-point scorer, and a lot of spunk and athleticism also, and a couple other seniors that left last year. So, it's going to be a pretty good season, I think, for the Blue Devils. Looking forward to covering them. NBCTC will be there for their 2 home openers against Mount Everett and Mount Greylock coming up very shortly. Yeah,
Rick, Coach Downey has that trio of players that have now a lot of experience under their belt. They're talented and they're scrappy. He plays an up-paced, up-tempo game. They're going to give a lot of those teams in the South a lot of trouble with their pressure defense and their up-tempo game. And I see this team as, although they, like you say, they lost a 1,000-point score, those shots are going to be redistributed, and I think they're going to be redistributed among some kids that can really play basketball.
Yeah, I think so, and you never know. Sometimes kids that don't get the opportunity finally get that opportunity, and they really, really shine. And I'm looking forward to doing Coach Downey's games this year, and a few up at Drury, and then Coaches versus Cancer that we'll talk about a little bit later on.
Right. Well, the final Northern Berkshire team, last but not least, obviously, Hoosick Valley under head coach Ron Wojcik. They are the defending Division III state champions, and that's quite a title to have. As they head into this year, of course, they lost a lot of firepower from that team last year in Mendel and Lexi Mercier, but he's got a lot of firepower coming back, and you see it right there on the screen.
And Tim, Coach Wojcik has been able to sustain a program, and it's apples and oranges, but it's kind of like if you're the New England Patriot fan. They're in it every year, and they build to win every year. And Coach Wojcik has built this program, and you could see it a long time ago. I mean, when Emily Rossi graduated, they said, "What will you be like next year?" And then it was Mackenzie Robinson, and then it was Fallon Field. Well, they always find a way, and that's because of the program that Coach Wojcik has set there, determination, working really hard in the off-season, AAU, summer basketball, what have you. The girls always kind of never put a basketball down, even though they play other sports. But they always have someone up and coming. And again, he's built. I'm looking forward to seeing this team without the 2,000-point scores. But it's going to be very interesting. They're going to be a lot of fun. But that pressure defense still, as long as Coach Wojcik has that program, is their mainstay.
Yeah, and we caught up with Coach Wojcik at the Jamboree, and we talked to him about the changeover, losing his 2,000-point scores.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, everybody will be out to get you, but same thing. We'll just approach everything the way we try to. We work hard, and like I told the kids, I mean, you got to work hard. You can't think about other people coming at you, and focus on the things we do, and try to get better each day.
Of course, every team deals with graduation. You lost over 2,500 career points in Lexi Mercier and Allie Mendel, but you're going to need some people to step up.
Yeah, absolutely. We lost 2 great players, but we feel that, with the players we got, the senior captains returning, Riley, Shane, Sarah, some of our younger kids, you may not have 2 players with 20 points a game, but if you get 4 players with 10 points a game, it's the same thing,
Well, congratulations. I know you got another challenging schedule, and it looks like a possible rematch with St. Mary's of Lynn, maybe in the holiday tournament.
Yeah, we'd love to get that. We had an opening, and they offered to come up. So they're in the opposite bracket with South Hadley, and we play Greenfield. And hopefully, if we both win, we get another.
Yeah, Coach Wojcik there, Rick, alluding to the Hoosick Valley Holiday Tournament coming up in December, where St. Mary's of Lynn has agreed to come out. And it's a very strong possibility that Hoosick Valley and St. Mary's will be playing each other in that tournament. So that'll be quite a game to see.
Yeah, one of the things Coach Wojcik has always done is played a very aggressive schedule. In his holiday tournament, Coaches versus Cancer, he never picks an easy team from the Pioneer Valley. And also when it comes to the Foxborough tournament, he plays whoever he has to play. And sometimes those teams are Division 2, 1 or 2. So he's always done it throughout his non-Berkshire County schedule. So could be very, very interesting, but they're very athletic, and I'm thinking big things again this year for the Lady Hurricanes.
Right. Well, Berkshire County girls basketball is very strong. We talked previously here this evening about the Lady Blue Devils of Jury, and I know Coach Downey's excited about his team this year, and we also caught up with him at the Jamboree, and he gave us some of his thoughts on this year's squad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited going into the year because it's one of those years where last year I knew what we had coming back. So there's a lot of expectation going into it, where this year I'm still learning about how girls are going to step up. Who's going to fill those new roles. Between, the seniors we lost, we probably lost 30 to 40 points a game in scoring. So who's going to fill that role this year? Where we can get that scoring from? So I'm excited to see girls who might not have played that much last year, what role are they going to come, take on this year?
Rick, in girls basketball, Berkshire County has been strong for many, many years. And you look at it this year, you've got a couple of other teams in Berkshire County that are going to be forces to contend with. In Division 3, the Lady Warriors of Wacona.
Yeah, Tim, you talked about Coach Wojcik's Lady Hurricanes being the Division 3 state champions. All they were in Berkshire County was co-champions last year with Wacona. And that tells you how great Coach Kay's got her program running down there too. And she's got some really good kids coming back. They are going to contend again with the Hurricanes this year. Those games are going to be incredible ball games to watch. I can't wait for those. But
no question about it. In fact, we're going to try to cover one of those games live right here on Northern Berkshire Community Television, because those have been real wars over the last several years.
Wacona was actually 20-3 last year, Tim. Incredible. And she's got coming back the incredible point guard, Maria Gambaroni, who was a junior this year. Also, her fellow junior, Noelle Furlong, and junior Jill Cody. So she's going to have 3 experienced players. She's got some other kids coming back. She's got some young kids. But she has built a nice program down there. And she sometimes has the formula to know how to compete with certain teams, and she knows how to compete. Whether she wins or not is another story, but she knows what she needs to do against Coach Wojcik's team. It's about the pressure. And with Gambaroni, sometimes you're successful.
Exactly. And another team that I'm looking forward to seeing this year is the Taconic Braves. Coach Matt Mickle has a strong team coming back. He finished 8-12 last year, but he's got one of the really exciting players in Siani Conyers, the sophomore, and I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, Tia Bramer's coming back. She's a senior this year. A little short last year, Tim, 8-12. But I think Coach Mickle is high hopes for the returning kids that he has too. So, boy, I'll tell you, the boys north and the girls north are going to be really, really tough this year.
Right.
As is the South. It's so competitive. I I really don't have a pure favorite per se.
Right. Good early season matchup on the girls' side will be Taconic coming to Hoosick Valley on Monday, December 16th at Hoosick Valley, and that is a game that you want to catch as there's going to be a lot of talent on the floor between the Braves and the Hurricanes in that one, and that's Monday, December 16th, and Northern Berkshire Community Television is going to cover that on a tape-delayed basis. Rick, we've got our girls preseason team we want to talk about before we end our girls segment here, and quite a lineup of players this year in Berkshire County.
Yeah, they really are. And when we do this preseason thing, Tim, we're taking kids that had played last year, assuming they're coming back this year, assuming they're healthy, and we put a little preseason team together, and we do okay. We'll see come March, but you know, I got Taya Bramer and Santa Connors, the two girls that you had mentioned from Taconic. Also the 1-2 punch down at Wacona, and that's Maria Gambaroni and Noel Furlong. And a 1-2 punch at Monument Mountain. So some of these teams have a 1-2 punch, just like the Hurricanes did last year with Mendel and Mercer. And that doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes the boys have it, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. And yeah, and Riley Robinson, of course, for Hoosick Valley, who's absolutely going to be their leader. And we want to put all these kids that we cover on here.
Right. There's so many deserving
players. They're so
players.
worthy.
Right.
You know, and you know, we'll see. But Riley may not be the top scorer every night. I don't expect her to be Coach Wojcik's top scorer every night this season either. But she's the catalyst of the team, and things will go around her. But she's got a great cast of characters to work with.
Oh, absolutely. That cast of players that alongside of her, the experience in Sarah Field and Annie Canales, who's been there now a few years. You look at what they're doing. Shaylee Levesque, very quick, plays hard press defense for Hoosick Valley. So they're a full team, and this is just a preseason analysis of players we think are going to be girls to watch as the season goes along.
That's a good way to explain it. Girls to watch, yeah.
Right. On the boys' side, as tough as the girls are going to be, watch out for the boys. That is going to be a real dogfight in that northern and the southern division between the teams in Berkshire County. And we're going to preview our northern Berkshire teams right now with Mount Greylock. And the Mounties lost a lot last year, but Coach Thistle has some key returning players.
Yeah, he does. He actually is bringing back his two top scorers, and senior Toby Fail and Derek Paris, who's only a sophomore. He's a sharpshooter. Mitch Jesuit, a senior this year. So a couple seniors and a sophomore, and a few other kids. Toby was hurt last year, Tim, if you remember. We had him as our preseason All-Berkshire pick and missed a lot of the season. One of the things Coach Thistle never, ever does is complain about losing players. He lost the McCormick kid a year before that, and he was almost a season, came back for the end. But he's a great coach, and he's going to get the best out of his kids. And Greylock will do very well in the South.
Absolutely, and of course the object for everybody is to get the 10 wins, to get into the dance, because Division III is such a wide open, competitive division in Western Massachusetts. And so, though Greylock fell a little bit short, they're looking to get back to the tournament this year, Rick. Another team that we've covered a lot last year, looking forward to this year, the McCann boys under Coach Chris Bullitt.
Yeah, the boys ended up 15-7 last year, had a very successful season, won a big first-round game last year, and set up the big matchup with the Hornets and Drury up at Drury. I loved doing that game last year, Tim. It was an incredible surroundings. They had to close Drury High School for the first time in many years with the packed gymnasium at the Buckybilla Gym. And the two key kids that Chris Bullitt has coming back this year are seniors, Lucas Jamros and Bruce Davis. A big loss for the Hornets. They lost their senior point guard, Keegan Vidal, to transfer. He's transferred to Drury High School. So Coach Reset picks up a point guard, and Coach Bullitt loses a point guard. But they've got also a couple of seniors that I didn't mention that we didn't show up there, and the Tavanis, Darius and Darian.
Yep.
And they're going to add a lot of value. They're very, very athletic, great football players, excellent three-sport athletes. and a couple other losses. A couple kids transferred to Hoosick Valley, but he's got a full slate, and he finds a way to fill his roster up. And again, some of the kids that might not have gotten a lot of time last year are going to get time this year, and things may pay benefits.
You're right, Rick. Another team looking to improve off of last year's record of 6-14, Hoosick Valley Hurricanes under Coach Dave Hart. Coach Hart has a returning nucleus of players in Isaiah Stubbs, Carson Meswar, and Joe Demolino. Of course, Stubbs has got over 800 points. He's knocking on the door of 1,000 points. But a big loss already for Hoosick Valley. Carson Meswar with a knee injury is going to miss some time this season. That's going to hurt.
I did hear that. I did, and he played so well as a freshman last year. Good for Coach Hart for taking a young man like Carson, knowing his athleticism, and getting him out there with the big guys, and he held himself greatly. He did an incredible job. He had a great season, and he sees the court very well. He's a good shooter. He's just a great basketball player, and they got some seniors, Travis Dozier, and they got Zach Swistak, Henry Sneezik. So they got kids that have been in the program, and again, Coach Hart's going to have to get some of these kids to step up because Isaiah Stubbs is a scorer. He's a shooter. He always has been, and he's going to have to get some balanced scoring.
Yeah, Stubbs will provide some offense for Hoosick Valley. As I said, he has scored over 800 points in his career. He has a real good possibility of getting to the 1,000-point mark here this year, and the ball will go to him. He is the guy who's going to move this offense for Hoosick Valley. But they're going to need to have some other players contribute if they're going to improve on their record of 6-14. I know Coach Hart thinks that this team can make the tournament, but he's going to have a tough go because that Berkshire North is such a difficult road to hoe for anybody in the tournament. There are no gimmies amongst Drury, Hoosick, Taconic, Pittsfield, and Wacona. So watch out in the Berkshire North this year. There are going to be no rocking chair games in that division this year. Last but not least, on the boys' side is the defending Western Mass Division IV champion, Blue Devils of Drury.
Yeah, the Blue Devils finally got over the hump last year, Tim. They came so close the year before in a heartbreaking loss to Pioneer at the Cage, but came back strong last year and beat Pioneer and Ware to win the championship. And of course, as you see right there, one of the most prolific scorers and prolific players in Drury basketball history, Scott McGuire, back for his senior year, comes in with 1,220 points. Keegan Vidal, the point guard coming over from McCann. Hunter Sarkis, of course. Dante Woodson, a senior that's going to be a nice role player. And Big Tim Brazo, we just showed Timmy's a sophomore this year. Right. He's about 6'2", almost 6'3", and very strong, coming off a very good basketball season. Plays a lot of basketball all year long, has been banging with the big guys. And I think Coach Reset is definitely going to challenge in Division IV this year. And good for him for staying in the North, where the games are extremely tough with Taconic, PHS, Wacona, of course, Hoosick Valley. So it's going to be a dogfight, as you said, in that North. The early team I kind of like, Wacona Warriors.
Right, and Coach Reset knows it. He knows he's got a great talent in Scott McGuire, but he also knows you don't do it with one player. And we caught up with Coach Reset at the Jamboree, and we got his thoughts on his team for this coming year.
Yeah, I mean, we're 5 days into it, a couple snow days already, and, we got a lot of work to do. We got some young guys that we got to move along, and, we talk about sophomores playing like juniors by the end of the year, and that's what we're going to need from our young guys.
Arguably, you have one of the top players in Massachusetts in Scott McGuire, but you've often said it takes more than one to have a successful team.
Yeah, absolutely. People are going to go after them, and they're going to do a lot of things. And we play a challenging schedule and staying healthy. I mean, people will tell you, I lose a guy like McGuire midway through the year, and that's just devastating because you can't afford it. So, keeping him healthy and just doing the right thing with him throughout the year, and he'll get his, but he's got to make everybody else better, and he's got to pick up a lot of slack on the boards. But we'll have our work cut out, that's for sure.
How important is it to play in Berkshire County? It's a tough competition, night in and night out.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something that we thrive on. Getting to Taconic twice, they go to the state finals. Waukeena gets beat in the semifinals by the Western Mass Division III champs. It's a brutal schedule. So, we talk about it as coaches in Berkshire County to keep yourselves healthy and hopefully, you get a good draw at the end. And, I've learned being a number 1 seed really doesn't mean anything. You don't see a lot of number 1 seeds win in Division 3 and 4 just because of the competition they play. I'm not a big Walker fan guy for a lot of reasons, and that's one of them. They really don't benefit you by the schedule. So, but you play who's on the schedule, and you hopefully you get your 10 wins. And you get in.
Well, Rick, Coach Reset alluded to Berkshire County in the North. You look at this North lineup of teams this year: Drury, Taconic, Pittsfield, Waukeena, Hoosick Valley. That's solid high school competition there.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Taconic is returning 2 outstanding players and seniors, Isaac Percy, who I thought was their overall best player last year. Also had Quentin Gittens, so it's pick or choose. But they were loaded, and Coach Heafy's been loaded for a few years now. And you know what? I mean, the enrollment down there is a little bit stronger than we have here in the northern Berkshire County in our area. So, he's got Mohammed Sanogo, a senior this year,
right.
About 6'7", 6'8", senior. So he's got some kids coming back, and he's got some kids that are always willing to step up. And you're going to hear some names we haven't heard about because they're so athletic and so good down there. PHS with Kamarli Harley, Craig Jackson, Sincere Moore, a junior, all returning from last year's team. So they're going to be pretty strong. And I mentioned Waukeena a few minutes ago, Tim. And Coach Belcher finished 16-6 last year, lost to Monument in the D3 semifinals. But he's returning some incredible height, some outstanding seniors. Tom O'Connor, 6'5", Kevin Huban, a 6'3" guard, and Luke Hescott, a 6'5" forward center. So, and again, they have kids on that football team. They're athletic, and they show up for basketball, and they put points on the board. And Coach Belcher got his kids at regular time this year. He didn't, they got the full week of practice, and so you're right, Tim. That North is going to be incredibly strong and wide open, I think.
And in the South, I look at the South, Monument Mountain, Coach Randy Coldis. You got one of the top players in Western Massachusetts in Deanne Brown back there. Outstanding guard, real talent. So Monument Mountain on any given night is going to give everybody a difficult time in Berkshire County. And this Lennox team, they've been young for a few years, and they got the Steinman boy coming back again. He's now a senior. It seems we've been talking about him for years, Jet Steinman. Yeah. And I'll tell you, Lennox is going to be solid, and they're going to be good in Division 4.
Yeah, I think they're going to be an improved team. They're 8-13 last year. Lee was 12-11 and had a pretty darn good season. And I think they did lose a couple of their stronger kids. A couple of Ben Harding graduated, and the Nason Whitney kid also graduated. So they lost their 2 top scorers. So I'm not really sure about them. But I like Monument right now as a top team in the South, and then Greylock right there also.
And, we're just quickly going down the all Berkshire preseason team on the boys side. We talked about these players already. Of course, Scott McGuire, one of the top players, arguably, in the state of Massachusetts for Drury. Tommy O'Connor at Waukeena. Isaac Percy at Taconic. Isaiah Stubbs, we talked about him. Mohammed Sanogo, Chris Huban, Deion Brown. So you're going to see night in and night out some really outstanding high school players that are spread out throughout Berkshire County.
Yeah, absolutely. And we talk about that 1-2 punch. We talked about Lexi Mercer and Allie Mendel. And last year it was Reese Reset and Scott McGuire. It was Quentin Gittens and Isaac Percy. And Waukeena's got it back again this year. Even with the graduation of a couple of key players. 2 of their top scorers, Chris Huban and Tom O'Connor, coming back. So there's a lot of 1-2 punches in there, but there's a lot of incredible athletes on the boys and the girls side, and a lot of these names, as long as these kids stay healthy, God willing, we'll be calling their names at the end of the season in March.
And before we close out our inaugural show for this basketball season, Rick, we'd be remiss if we didn't recognize the passing of 2 people who are so supportive of high school sports in the Northern Berkshire community. And first, Hank Tomkowitz, the passing of Hank Tomkowitz, a real legend in Adams, and of course a great supporter of Adams High School and Hoosick Valley sports and UMass sports. Hank Tomkowitz passing away this week. What more can you say about Hank? He just followed every sport. Hoosick Valley was a great supporter of the school. Of course, we used to see him singing the national anthem there.
Absolutely, Tim, and Hank will be well missed. You know, we talk about Gene Wine, as
Exactly.
Jury's top fan, and Adams Cheshire had a bunch of them also. And Hank, as you said, he would go from one athletic event to another, which included golf. So, from what I'm told,
Yep.
So he did it all, and I really enjoyed him grabbing that mic up at Hoosick Valley for many, many years, and he will be sadly missed. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the Tomkowitz family here from Northern Berkshire Community Television.
Absolutely, and of course, for Jury, the loss of passing of Teresa Reset, who was such an incredible supporter of not only her children at Drury High School, but the sports at Drury High School.
Absolutely, and Teresa was an incredible woman, an incredible sports fan from a sports family.
Right.
That's what she was all about. That's what she raised her family to be all about. And you know, even as she turned into her early 80s, she would walk down from the house on the corner of Vesey and School and walk down to Knoll Field to watch a baseball game, whether she had a grandson playing or not. So again, our thoughts and prayers from Northern Berkshire Community Television go out to the entire Reset family. That's David Alice and their beautiful family, Sharon and Dave Armitage, and Jack Reset and his family, Michelle. And of course, Coach Reset's been up at Drury for so long. And of course, David's the athletic director also. So, so our thoughts and prayers out to the Reset family.
Great family. Rick, that's going to do it for our inaugural show here of High School Basketball Weekly. High School Basketball Weekly can be seen every Thursday night at 7:30, Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, and then again Sunday evening at 7 o'clock right here on channel 1302. As we close out every show, you're going to see some great high school basketball action. Support your favorite team, and we'll give you the results and give you all the action as we do it weekly.
See you next week, everybody.
Take care.